better than nothing. I think they're beautiful. They show perseverance, tenacity, hope. There you go. Hi, good morning. Good morning. Nice to see all these wonderful faces. Good to see Harvey and Roberta here. It's good to see all of you, but, pardon? You can't hear me? Oh, I can take my mask off. I'm sorry, I know that y'all would like to too, but when you're at the podium, you have an exemption. So thank you for reminding me. I'm sorry about that. I'm getting so used to wearing them that it almost doesn't feel like I have one on. So, welcome again to the University Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Thank you all for your grace and patience as we work through everything that seems to change every week. We're working on being back together and, of course, watching these numbers and wondering lots of things. So please keep your mask in place during service unless you're at the podium and unless you're enjoying a beverage afterwards. We do have our beautiful memorial garden outside that you can have your coffee in after service if you like. It's a nice breeze today, so it should feel really good. I want to let people know, too, for members, that we are having a brief quarterly meeting after service. It will start about 10 minutes after we end this, and it'll be via Zoom. The Zoom link was in the notable news. The meeting ID is our church phone number, and hopefully we're going to be able to put a notice in Facebook and YouTube for all of you watching online. So I think that's enough to get started with this morning. Oh, one more note. When we share joys and concerns, they will be streamed out to the universe as part of our service. So just be aware of that when you're asked to share if you like to. And let's take a brief moment and just wave to all our friends online. Hopefully we have quite a few. We love you. We know we understand why you're not here, and we hope we'll all be together again shortly. Do we have any quarterly or any committee moments this morning? I'm looking for committee chairs. Here comes John. And I see Roberta. Oh.
We decided that there will not be a women's group meeting in August, and I'm going to send out a notice to everybody because I know there's a lot of people who aren't here today that wouldn't know that. Okay, thank you.
Good morning, everybody. John Mowbray on behalf of Facilities and Grounds. Next Saturday is going to be work day, so if you can show up between 9 and 12 and contribute either inside or outside doing various things, just kind of keep everything up. We'd greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions and want to talk to me after service, I'll be around, so look forward to talking to you. Thank you.
John's pretty good at finding skills for every, or finding tasks for every skill level, because mine is very low. On behalf of SAC, I'd like to mention that we are hosting another bingo game on August 27th at Maxwell Gardens. So the information's in the notable news. If you have any like household items, things that have been gently used but are still good, we give prizes to those people. That Pathlight Homes is helping house the chronically homeless. So they get an apartment in a former hotel, but they have to provide their own furnishings. So we've been having a lot of fun meeting the people and playing bingo. Joey is giving Carl a run for his money as a bingo announcer. She has everything down except the English accent. So she will never have that. All right, well, let's get started this morning. My Sunday mornings are made better by being part of this community, and my hope is that yours will be too. These words of welcome by the Reverend Kimberly Ann Tomsack Carlson of the First U of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, embody for me the essence of our Unitarian Universalist faith and of this fellowship. She titles it a place of belonging and caring. It is not by chance that you arrived here today. You've been looking for something larger than yourself. Inside of you, there is a yearning, a calling, a hope for more, a desire for a place of belonging and caring. Through your struggles, someone nurtured you into being, instilling a belief in shared purpose, a common yet precious resource that belongs to all of us when we share. And so you begin seeking a beloved community, a people that does not put fences around love, a community that holds its arms open to possibilities of love, a heart home to nourish your soul and share your gifts. So welcome home. Welcome to worship this morning. Our opening music, When Your Heart is in a Holy Place, is written by Unitarian Joyce Poley. And I'm not going to read all these names. You can see them. Well, yes, I am. Asher Davison on bass and baritone, Mihoa Stager, pianist, Brielle Nielsen, mezzo-soprano, Mark Sumner, baritone, and John Silk on the drums. This is a beautiful hymn. Let the word
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power on each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
captured the UU congregation that was singing. But yes, that's who that was, another UU congregation that loves that hymn as much as we do. So the chalice lighting is a symbol of our Unitarian faith, the chalice. The ritual of lighting the chalice near the beginning of our sacred time together is happening across many time zones today in many other UU congregations. So as I light this chalice this morning, as so many are doing, please join me in reciting the words on the screen. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, Thank you. In our community of diverse beliefs and shared values, it's important to remember how we covenant to be together. Each week, we read out loud our affirmation. Please join me. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its gift. This is our great covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. Thank you. So welcome again this morning. We've already waved to our online guests. We're glad you're there. And this is a place of belonging and caring. We hope you'll feel as though you belong. Please visit us more than once in order to really get to know us. We do have varying speakers and topics, yet they're all connected by our Unitarian Universalist principles. Individual speakers and presentations present different perspectives and hopefully challenge us to think more deeply, or perhaps differently, or perhaps not. Revelation is open and continuous in our UU faith, which is often more about questions than answers. We learn and explore together. So please join us again. Sharing moments of joy and sorrow is a long-standing tradition in our community. Joys multiply and generate high fives and big smiles. Shared sorrows and concerns are hopefully lessened a bit by knowing you are surrounded by love. Please come forward to the mic if you'd like to share, or I can bring it to you if you prefer. And remember that we are streaming, and this will be part of our archived service. I have checked the online version. That's why I was getting my phone. I wasn't just not paying attention, but we have not had any online joys and concerns come in this morning. So if anyone would like to share, you're welcome to do so. And I will move a stone symbolizing your joy and concern as being spoken.
I'm Kelly. I'm very happy that my brother and my sister-in-law and my 2-year-old nephew, which I get to meet, they're going to be able to visit after rescheduling their visit from COVID, and I'm very happy.
Yay. So. Definitely a joy.
My name is Ann, and I have some joys and a concern. So one of my joys is that Kelly from the congregation helped me plant an herb garden a few months ago, and it is doing so well that I have lemon balm, basil, and oregano in bags in the kitchen. So please take some of that, because I don't know what to do with all of that. And I have the blackest thumb that there is. So the fact that this is like a miracle. So thanks to Kelly. And my other joy, yet concern, is that 2 of our daughters are moving up to University of Florida on Wednesday. So it's joyous that they're moving on. My concern is that, like, the ICUs in Gainesville have made the national news last night of being full, and that they're going to be in the petri dish of a dorm. They've already talked about moving classes online for the first couple weeks, so that their whole college experience will be, so different from anything that I ever experienced. But so it's a joy and it's a concern.
Mm-hmm. Ann's going to need lots of hugs in the next couple of months. And Carl, too.
Okay, well, I guess it's a joy. Tomorrow is my birthday.
Oh, yes. Woo-hoo!
And except our air conditioning isn't working, and the guy's supposed to come fix our air conditioning tomorrow. So we may have to celebrate Tuesday. But also, this mask has a story. It was made for me by a friend of mine that was a retired nurse. She wrote to me and said, this is back, when COVID first started and people started wearing masks. She said, "Do you have masks yet?" And I said, "No." And so she quickly made me 3 masks and sent it to us. Mm-hmm. And because she was a retired nurse, she still liked caring for people. And she eventually got COVID and passed away. Mm. So this mask is a very special mask for me.
Yeah.
Good morning. My joy is that we've had starts negatively. We've had some big divisions in my family on all different sides for personal reasons, for political reasons, and we have a couple of big events coming up. My son is getting married, and I'm getting married, and we have managed to reach out to some folks in our family, like my mother-in-law. My son did not want to invite my late husband's mother to the family for a very complicated reasons, but I finally got him. You know, you have, invite your abuela should be here. So that's done, thank goodness, and my sister-in-law. And my brother, who I haven't spoken to in 10 years, he said he's coming to my reception, and my future husband's brothers, he's been divided from, have been invited. So it's just big events and trying to just bridge these sad gaps, and some of it's happening.
Yay.
I'd like us to move a stone this morning. As your religious educator, I've been in contact with a lot of parents the last week or two, and there's been a lot of stress and a lot of concern for our kids in school. And so thank you for doing that. Moving a stone and sharing our love and support for all the families struggling with what it is to be sending their kids into school and having to come back home and make decisions about whether they're going back to school the next day, because the rates keep changing. So just keep a place in your heart for them. Thank you.
Thank you. I've thought many times how lucky I am that my daughter's older now, so I can't imagine the stress of dealing with this and work and kids and homeschool and all of that. Although my daughter works at a school, and she's having challenges in Tennessee because they don't mask often, and she's wearing hers bravely to school, and I'm sure being made fun of, but she's okay with that. So.
We have one that came in
Oh.
YouTube? Facebook.
Facebook, okay.
We have some kids who have been diagnosed with COVID.
Oh, no.
So keep a place in your heart for Anastasia.
Oh.
Were any of the other kids? Okay, that's what I thought. And the Bechtold Parish Walker household needs your love.
Yeah, wow. Please join me in a moment of silence to honor those who have shared, those who have unspoken cares in their hearts, and all those in the world who need our love and support. Thank you. Our Time for All Ages this morning is a collaborative effort, I believe, with our DRE, Director of Religious Education, Judith Stein-Farrell, and Reverend Tracie Barrett, this morning's speaker.
Oops, I might have lost my earring. I did. So, Judith, you and I have been talking, and you said that there is a container of what Triple U is.
Oh, I've got this great box of Triple U. Hold on.
Great, thank you.
I'll get it.
Okay, good. Get it for me, please, because I'm going to need it later in the sermon. So,
Okay.
okay.
All right. Oh my gosh. It is such a big box.
Well, I mean, I figured it was a big
I don't know
box.
if I can do this by myself.
I mean, I think you can. You can try.
I'll try. I can't do
You
it.
can't do. I heard that Levi's a good helper. Levi, can you come help her? Oh, good, excellent.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
This thing's rated for like 500 pounds, so like we should be good.
Yeah, that should do it. That's good.
Lift 500 pounds. It might be more than that.
Yeah, that doesn't do it.
Really? All right.
Do it.
All right.
We need you to do it.
Okay, hang on. I'll come and help too. Let's do this
Put on
together.
your PPE. You know.
Yeah, I got it. Don't mess up. Let's go. All right, come on. I'll push.
Oh,
Thank you.
Yeah, you know,
I always get volunteered for the heavy lifting.
Because you're such a good helper.
we know what your skill set is.
Oh, the scrawny guy lifts heavy stuff. Cool. Yeah,
It's true, it's true.
So, great.
I couldn't have done this without you guys.
I know, I mean, I obviously could not have lifted it at all without you guys, so this is good, and thank you. And we're gonna talk more about this in a few minutes.
All right, take it easy. One real quick announcement. Millennial Group is meeting on Friday, CJ's house, 6:30. 21 and up.
Well, that was fun, and it's leaving lots of questions, which I'm sure we'll have answered shortly, or maybe not. So as you enjoy this beautiful piece of classical music, yep, still by Beethoven, take a moment to reflect on all the gifts you receive and those you have to offer others. If you are able, your contributions this morning will help support this fellowship and our current Share the Plate partner, Pathlight Homes, who works to house the chronically homeless with grace and dignity. There's a basket by the door, and an online option is also available. And we gratefully acknowledge all those who give so generously of their time, talent, and treasures on a regular basis to support the work of this fellowship. And an online option is also available. Let's take a moment to relax. And we wasn't that nice? It's so happy, it makes me think of Mozart, but it clearly says Beethoven. We have one committee moment that got missed earlier, so
Ray
let's.
and I were outside during committee moments, so we missed this. Just for membership, it's one thing about coming back, it's been great to see a lot of new faces coming every Sunday. So we had UU 101, which is an introductory briefing where we all get to meet each other and talk about what brought us. But we did that we'll be holding another one of those in September. But for those who are interested in joining and becoming members this fall, we will have our membership to Pathway meeting. That will be not next weekend, but the following Sunday. And if you are planning on coming to that, and you should have attended UU 101 already, but if you're planning, please let me or Ray know because we'll be serving lunch and we need a head count. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Our speaker this morning, the Reverend Tracie Barrett, has graced our pulpit many times, both online and in person. She is an ordained UU minister since completing her student internship in 2017, and most recently served as a part-time minister for Lake County UU in Eustis, Florida. She considers herself a UU evangelist and a theology nerd, and we're happy to have her back this morning.
In 2018, our General Assembly in Kansas City, Missouri was titled, All Are Called. During the Sunday morning worship, Reverend Susan Frederick Gray laid it out, saying, "This is no time for a casual faith. As Unitarian Universalists, we are first and foremost religious communities that practice love as our foundation. And we are living in times of heartbreak, violence, struggle, and pain. In this time, we need communities that remind us of our humanity in this very inhumane time." While that was 3 GAs ago, her words have resonated since. She easily could have said this yesterday. This is no time for a casual faith. We are all called. Fantastic. So what does that mean? This means that each and every person in this congregation is called. Called to do what? Called to minister to a broken world. Not just those of us with a divinity degree, a title in front of our names, and the ever-present awareness of the broken world we move in. Not just our leadership in our congregation who have volunteered for the sometimes thankless task of running the day-to-day operations to keep the lights on, the bills paid, but also managing the programs and the classes and the social justice outreach. Not just our religious educators and leaders who have the great task of leading our children and our youth through their own spiritual journeys. Excuse me. No, every single one of us in this room and those watching from home are called. And y'all at home better believe I'm talking to you too. We are called to minister to a broken and hurting world. We are called to minister to those who come to us seeking a safe and supportive space where they can set their burdens down for a spell and work out what they believe. We are called to help them bear these burdens, bind their wounds, see that they are fed and nurtured, and remind them that they are not alone. That's a lot, right? And it's daunting. Trust me, I know. During my ordination in 2017, the Reverend Kathy Schmitz looked at me as she prepared to offer me the right hand of fellowship into ministry and said, "You picked a real interesting time to become a minister." And she was right. Back in 2017, our world, our communities, our congregations were hurting. We were in the beginning stages of 4 years that saw harmful and hateful beliefs paraded out in the open. In the years since, it's gotten worse, and now we've added a pandemic on top of it. I won't lie to you. There have been days where I've wondered what I got myself into. But then I find myself coming back to Reverend Susan Frederick Gray, that this is no time for a casual faith, that it's time to side with love and fight to protect those who cannot protect themselves, that it is time to point out the racism, oppression, homophobia, transphobia, misogyny, that it's time to make sure that every day I am renewing my call to minister to a broken and hurting world and to do what I can to heal it. That calling is not just mine because I'm ordained. No, that calling is one that we all have as Unitarian Universalists. We are called to heal those who are hurting. And how do we know that this is what we're called to do? Because in many different cultures and religions, it all comes down to a similar thing. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. We see this first in the ancient cultures. Egypt, India, Greece, Persia, Rome, all have some form of that saying in their history. In religious settings, we see it in Judaism. Hillel the elder was challenged to explain the Torah while he stood on one foot. He said, and I'll stand on one foot, "What is hateful to you, do not do to your fellow. This is the whole Torah. The rest is explanation. Go and learn it." In Christianity, Jesus is quoted as saying, "Do to others what you want them to do to you. This is the meaning of the law of Moses and the teaching of the prophets." He's also quoted as saying that the second greatest commandment is to love your neighbor as yourself. The Apostle Paul says, "For the whole law is summed up in a single commandment. You shall love your neighbor as yourself." Oh, but we're not done. In Islam, the prophet is quoted as saying, "As you would have people do to you, do to them. And what you dislike to be done to you, don't do to them." In the Baha'i faith, they teach that if your eyes are turned towards justice, choose for your neighbor what you'd choose for yourself. In Hinduism, it is said, if the entire Dharma can be said in a few words, then it is, that which is unfavorable to us, do not do unto others. In Buddhism, it's taught, putting oneself in the place of another, one should not kill nor cause to be killed. Again and again, in so many religions and cultural traditions, we hear the same thing over and over. It finds itself in philosophy, sociology, psychology, evolution, and even economics. This golden rule is truly what will make the world a better place. As Unitarian Universalists, we're geared for this. Our principles point to the golden rule. Obviously, the first principle, the inherent worth and dignity of every person, but it's not just that one. Our second and our sixth principles call us to work towards justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, and peace and liberty and justice for all. Our interdependent web of all existence is all about the golden rule. When we look at our principles about free and responsible searches for truth and meaning and the democratic process, we need to remember to not only want that for ourselves, but for others as well. And our third principle, we covenant to affirm and promote acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. Now, I don't know about you, but that's definitely a love your neighbor as yourself one. Now, as someone who has been responsible for the spiritual growth of a congregation, I can tell you that that is no easy feat, especially in a Unitarian Universalist congregation. Which is why I'm so glad that it's not just my job, because I'm the one with the fancy title. I'm so glad that it's not just Judith's job, because here's a hint, it's not. Every one of us is called to do that work. The principle isn't, I, Reverend Tracie, covenant to affirm and promote. No, it's we, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote. All of us are called to do the work laid out in our principles. Regardless of who comes in those doors or those doors, each person in this space is called to be there. We are called to be a base camp at the mountain that we call life. We are a place where people come to be fed, both physically and spiritually. We are a place where people can set down their packs and share the news of their journey. We are a place where those who are hurting can be tended to, and those who are joyful can be celebrated with. We are a place where we come together to take a breath, a pause, a moment to rest before going back out in the world and doing it all over again. But here's the thing. You are not alone in this work. I am not alone in this work. We have each other. We have to have each other. Because just like in our time for all ages, we cannot do this work alone. A few years ago, I read through some curriculum on the UUA website, and the details of which one and why I was doing it are now lost to memory, but one thing stuck out to me. At the end of the class, each class session, the leader was instructed to have the group stand in a circle, and each person would take turns looking at their neighbor and offering their hand saying, will you put your hand in mine so that together we may do the work that I cannot do alone? Will you put your hand in mine so that together we may do the work that I cannot do alone? That, my friends, is the essence of shared ministry. It's not one person doing everything. It's not even one or two people doing everything. It's all of us working together to find ways to help and support the overarching mission of this congregation, both here within this hybrid worship space and outside these doors in the community in which we are located. But here's the great thing about shared ministry. You don't have to do it all. If your thing is being that first person that people see when they arrive, that's your ministry. You greet people, orient them to this space, answer any questions. You're basically a wayfinder. Same for our lovely tech team who handles greeting people online. If your thing is to be one of the miracle workers in the kitchen that makes sure that there is fresh coffee and clean mugs, and when it's time to go back to potluck, to make sure that everything is arranged with a magic I have yet to understand, that is ministry. Hospitality is definitely one of the great ministries of any congregation. You keep us fed and watered and caffeinated, and for that I'm sure we are all eternally grateful. Maybe your ministry is being the voice for the congregation out in the world in social justice spaces, making connections with other groups that we can support in doing the work they're doing, going to rallies, making phone calls, delivering items. That is a powerful ministry and is definitely one of the most visible in the community as Unitarian Universalists. Now, perhaps your ministry isn't on the front lines. Maybe you're one of those people who just go around quietly to make sure everything is where it needs to be for every service or program. Or you run the tech in a way that we forget you're back there. Or you come up here on the weekend to do cleanup on the grounds and in the building. Or you make sure that all the doors are locked and the lights are off when we're done. Or you gather the supplies. Or you make a meal. Or any number of things that keeps this community going. That, too, my friends, is ministry. Maybe you're not sure if you can do that kind of work and you wonder, well, what is my ministry? If so, I have good news for you. Your ministry, the one you share with those you have covenanted with in this congregation, your ministry is simply being you. Each one of you. Your greatest ministry is being here, whether here in the virtual sense or here in person. Your presence is important. You may not know it, and honestly, you may never know why, but I promise you a day will come, or perhaps it already has and it will again, where your presence in this wide space that we have created will minister to someone. Maybe it'll be when you share the stream of this service with your friends. Maybe it'll be a comment that to you may seem like it's nothing, but will change that person's life. Maybe it'll be a hug or a smile or a touch on the shoulder. Maybe it'll just be answering a question in a way that only you can. This is the essence of shared ministry. It's the showing up, the being present, the helping in ways big and small and everything in between. It's doing things that you didn't realize will help someone until maybe years from now they say, you know, when you did that, I felt ministered to. At my 20th high school reunion back in I got a chance to talk to one of my first friends in kindergarten. I grew up in Lakeland and in the same house the whole time, so the same school district all the way through. This dear friend, who I hadn't seen in person since our high school graduation, said to me, "Did you know that you were the first person who talked to me in kindergarten? It was lunchtime, and you sat down next to me. You were the first person to speak to me other than the teacher, and I've never forgotten that." I didn't know that. I knew we'd been friends since we were little, but my first sleepover was at her house, and her dad will still stop me or my mom and say hi in the grocery store over the years, but I hadn't realized that I'd made that much of an impact. It humbled me. I was blessed to be able to know that fact that night, and it has resonated with me since. It shaped who I am, how I minister, and how I move through this world. Every Sunday, we gather in person and virtually in this space to worship. Not to worship a deity or a thing or whatever. No, we gather to consider things of worth. Our covenant, our community, each other. These are things of worth. Shared ministry means that each and every person who arrives here, in whatever way they arrive, are bringing something to the table that no one else can. Maybe you look at the blurbs about the speakers and think, that doesn't interest me. I may stay home this week. You wouldn't be alone. I mean, every Unitarian Universalist that I know has done it at least once and sometimes more. Our tradition is a tricky one because of our pluralism that is involved in our sources and our people. However, I want to challenge you. A few months ago, a pastor in a different tradition said he tells people that they will agree with about 70% of what happens there. But they need to remember that the 30% will be someone else's 70%. And come anyway. Because as I said earlier, sometimes your ministry is in being here for a conversation that happens outside of our program time. Maybe your ministry is to show up and sit down next to someone new who hasn't been spoken to yet. Maybe you're the reason they choose to stay. Just a thought. My friends, we are in this together. This is no time for a casual faith. It is time for all of us to answer the call to love the heck out of this world. And it starts here. It starts with us, working together to make this community the best it can be so that our love radiates out from here. Will you put your hand in mine so that together we can do the work that I cannot do alone? Amen. Blessed be, and may it be so.
Thank you for that excellent reminder of why we're all here. Please join with me in these traditional words as we extinguish the chalice. We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Our closing music today is a UU, I guess, favorite.
Rise
Watching them makes me miss our choir. I can't wait till we can get back together and start singing. Yeah, soon. It won't be as long as it's been. Okay. Closing words today from Barbara Cheatham. Bring happiness. And now we take our leave. Before we gather here again, may each of us bring happiness into another's life. May we each be surprised by the gifts that surround us. May each of us be enlivened by constant curiosity. And may we remain together in spirit till the hour we meet again. Thus ends this morning's service. We were planning on having a 10-minute break and then starting the quarterly meeting. So we're going to extend that just a tad and make it a 13-minute break and start at 11.